Okie dokie, today we got some double trouble. This is a Schrammelgitarre from, we'll say circa 1920. Could be earlier, could be slightly later. I made a short about this, demonstrating the heel block adjuster that adjusts the neck angle, and there was a tiny bit of confusion about exactly what it did. Okay, so
ever heard of a truss rod?
You mean the truss rod?
A lot of people.
Is this not just a truss rod?
A lot of people
It's called a truss rod, dude.
had a hard time figuring out what this mechanism is. In fact, a very large number of people all had the exact same idea about what it was. Almost everyone thought it was a truss rod. This is a clock key neck adjuster. It adjusts the angle of the neck. Let me show you. If you loosen it, the heel comes up and the string action goes up as the neck tilts this way. If you tighten it, the string action comes back down as the heel comes closer to the body. This is a truss rod. It adjusts the relief in the neck. In other words, how straight the neck is. If the neck under string tension has pulled forward and is bent or bowed, you can tighten this and pull the wood backwards to create a straight neck again. The straightness of the neck is not the same as the relation of the neck to the body. At the moment, the bass, sub-bass strings, contrabass strings are not tuned, and the standard Spanish neck is just a nylon string guitar. Very out of tune. But we're gonna work on this baby. Things we're gonna take care of. I'm gonna show you the inner workings of this neck mechanism, or neckanism. Stauffer commonly use this. Early Martins have this. Many people used to use this in Russia now and Balkan states. This is still a very common adjustment. It does not preclude a truss rod. You could still have a truss rod. This just adjusts the neck angle so you don't have to do a neck reset when the action changes, either with the weather or if you want to adjust the action to the player or the style of play. So let's pull that off. These would have come with a clock key adjuster, or, you know, everyone used to have a windable clock on their mantle, and they would have a clock key for their clock. In this case, I'm using what is a tuning hammer for a auto harp or zither or something along those lines. Here you can see the inset metal nut and square driver here. See the heel rising here? After 3 turns, let me show you. The action is now ridiculously high. I should probably loosen off these strings so the overhang doesn't push into the soundboard. 1 second. Simple. And just like that, it's removed. We've got a nice brass inset here. And there's the rest of the heel. We got some fuzzy buddies here. And quite a variety of tuning pegs. And by tuning pegs, I of course mean bridge pins. Speaking of the bridge, appears to be Brazilian rosewood in a very triangular shape. The Spanish neck also appears to be Brazilian rosewood, whereas the bass neck is a little less obvious, but is probably just a lesser cut of Brazilian rosewood. Looks to be flat sawn. Not sure on the neck wood. Looking a bit like maple in certain places, but heavily tinted. Interestingly, there is a shim here. I guess that's just to help protect the fulcrum point of the neck joint. Clearly, all the dust buildup back here. The heel has rarely, if ever, been in contact with the full neck pocket. At the neck pocket, the soundboard is pretty thick for this era, but it does thin out on its way down. The body is a flamed maple, but it's a very subtle, tight curl that doesn't show up that well. This has been worked on before, and the source of these issues was, of course, that they tucked the braces. And what this means is that as the quarter sawn wood with the grain running this way shrinks inward, the brace wood, whose grain runs this way, stayed the exact same size. And so because the braces were tucked and it shrank, eventually the braces pushed through the sides. So my proposed solution to this is to add back binding. I guess to call this back quarter sawn was completely inaccurate. You can see by the grain patterns here, it was more flat sawn. It's quarter sawn, more on this side, but flat sawn here, clearly not a book matched piece of wood. It is a single piece of very large wood. And this guitar was made or repaired by a ghost. You can hear this brace is loose, and this brace is loose. The Spanish neck features a 0 fret, and obviously there's a lot of play in the cowboy chord positions, and so much so that a partial refret was done with a different gauge and material of fret. And yeah, so we'll see if we can find some narrower gauge and redo the partial refret. The individual nuts for the bass strings are cute. The previous owner clearly got their money's worth out of these strings using the entire thing. This guitar was certainly playable, but could use a lot of improvements. And you can see it being played right here by Ricky Paquette as the sheepdogs jammed in my living room. This is the most useful tool in my shop. It cuts strings, it cuts frets, and it pulls frets. Now I kind of want to start with something really simple and satisfying, which is sanding down and oiling the bass fretboard. I guess it's not a fretboard, it's a fretless board. You'll notice there are string marks, a couple of little dings and scratches, so we're going to clean that up as best as we can. Anytime you're sanding, you should probably use a sanding block, otherwise you're liable to give in to the different densities of wood and you'll end up with different types of divots. So we're using just a little sanding block here and some 220 grit. Now you can see from the sheen, they probably shellacked the fretboard. I'm considering just going with an oil. This is probably one of the last things I should be doing, but sometimes you just want an easy task to start the day. Like I said, just something easy and satisfying to get us started. For the back, I've got some Wenge with some laminated maple and ebony for the rear binding. It's partially bent, but we're gonna have to finish that up. And I'm gonna put the line of laminate on the bottom, and then we can round over the wenge to match the front, which is rounded over. It's not like an exact match to the front stuff, but it's a nice complement. And my hope is that a majority of the damage will be covered. Obviously not all of it, but we're gonna do the best we can. We're gonna be using this bit, and so it will ride closer to the center and hopefully avoid any of the lumps that are here, because the guide bearing is going to be our guide, obviously. I've got a few different sizes of bearing here so we can route just the right amount. Should we try and glue this in place first? Absolutely. So we've got a few spots where we want to try to level where the bearing is going to be riding. So we got some lateral pressure, and now we're going to add some more pressure in this area. But since it's opposite this, we're going to do them both at the same time and run surgical cord around them both. I guess while we're waiting for glue to dry, we might as well close these seams. Shouldn't you be using hide glue? Ted uses a suction cup. Yeah, I know. Here is what it looks like. Now we wait. I'm having a mocha. Now, the question, do I want to pull all the frets so I can clean up this board and do a full refret? Or just do 4 frets? I suppose I can see how it cleans up with a razor blade and decide after that. All right, that's all taken care of. So now we just need to put in some new fret wire, polish this all up. I did leave these divots. They don't interfere with play, and you know, you can fill them with dust and super glue, or you can patch them, but I kind of like keeping them for posterity. Just shows the instrument's been loved. 1 million potatoes later, We're stripping this down. You'll see I did add pieces of wood to increase the pressure exactly where I want it, because the rubber kind of just, it's mostly on the corners. So you have to help it along. Anyway, it's been several hours. I mean, overnight, probably almost 24 hours at this point. So we're gonna take off the clamps. Alrighty. Definitely looking better. Sounding better too. Now we just need to choose a bearing. This looks a little too deep. But looks aren't anything but speculation, so we're gonna put it on and do a test cut on a test piece. And that will help us more accurately determine which bearing we're gonna use. All right, let's find out. Yep, way too deep. And that one's right on the money. Now, one thing I've noticed is that the guide bearing does scar the source wood, and so I usually will run a piece of masking tape all around the perimeter for the bearing to ride on. We also will not be able to go through the heel because the bearing would be riding here, so we either need to plug this or just do this section by hand. Now, because the guitar is arched both this way and this way, the lines are a little inconsistent. Obviously, I have not completed this area either. And so I'll have to do some handwork to clean it up. And it looks like one woodworm from the case came through to the guitar. So much for protecting the sides with masking tape. Looks like we may be doing a refin on the sides. This might buff out with a little top coat, but looks pretty bad. I can't work in this mess anymore. All right, I quit partway through, as shown, but at least we're getting clean enough to work. Now, before we even consider gluing in the binding, we need to repair the braces because some glue is going to get in where the braces are and prevent them from seating properly. You can see this is the gap between the brace and the soundboard, or actually the back, not the soundboard. So we're going to fix those first. this little blade is leveraging the tip into place. All right, I'm gonna start gluing on the binding, starting at the waist. All this is just to glue on 2/3 of one side. I found some fret wire. It's a little bit wider, but at least it's the same type of material instead of brass like the other ones. Now it turns out I lost the footage of me crowning and polishing those frets, but if you need a video of crowning, I can send you a link to my friend Jenna's birth video. Only this section left. I need to cut this to match that, and then we'll be done. And by done, I mean then we'll spend several hours cleaning it up. Last section's glued on. All right, this is how this is looking. This wear around the edge is actually original. I have not scraped off any of the finish. It was just the edges that didn't get routed all the way. You can still see the wear. You can see there's quite a bit of lip left here to remove. So what we're doing today is scraping that back. And because the scraper does tend to create a little bit of chatter, mostly because of this maple layer giving resistance, we'll follow that up with some sandpaper. And then we'll top it with some shellac. Still undetermined about what I'm going to do about touching up the finish on the side here. May just try to get rid of all the loose bits and give it a new coat of shellac, and hopefully that covers up the tape damage. I'm quickly approaching the idea of just sanding the entire side and back and doing a full refin. It looks to me as though it's been sprayed with lacquer at some point, which is probably what came off here, is the outer spray of lacquer over top of the original finish. I don't know, guys. Have you ever tried to cut corners to speed up a process and just made yourself all the more work because of it?
Has that ever happened to you?
I'm hitting this with 40 grit. Still taking me forever. This was a huge mistake. Well, it only makes sense that a video titled Double Trouble would be double the trouble. And also that it would be a double video. Yes, I regret to inform you this is taking way too long, and I shan't finish it in this video. So stay tuned, subscribe if you're not, and we will get back to this in the next video next week.
This morning the sun and his beauty